There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Snake Pit. This is episode 91. I did this one with Tryptamine 08, also known as D.o.G. That stands for Devil or God. This one was a little out of the ordinary. We kind of just talked about DMT and psychedelics. We talked about aliens. We talked about his music, which is how I was introduced to him, and he as a musician, as a man in the music industry. But yeah, it was a great one. I had a fun time, and I hope you guys enjoy this one. If you haven't yet, go and purchase 806 versus Everybody tickets. I'm sure they're still available. I have merch coming out sometime this week. I will have it, and it'll be available. So hit me up if you want it. I'll deliver to you locally, and I'll ship it out for free. Other than that, like, subscribe, comment. I really need it. Thank you.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, man. We're here.
Appreciate you having me, man.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for making the drive all the way out in Idaloo, man.
Thank you.
Right off the back, aliens. I told you to hold off on it. I don't know what's going on.
Right.
There's definitely something crazy going on out there, man.
Well, the reason I even talk about it is because, man, that's what I do. Like in my hobby, I've been listening to all these Joe Rogan deals, watching the Bob Lazar story and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's claiming that people work on craft, right?
Yeah, he did.
He's just even saying the government was doing it.
Okay.
So there's also, as far as like, what is the government doing as far as like making contact, if there's any possible way, right? And so, as I heard you and my brother talking in one of the episodes about...
So your brother is Isaiah, who's the Psychedelic Show,
yes.
For those of y'all that don't know.
Yes.
And you're D.o.G.
I'm D.o.G. I'm a local artist, man. I've been rapping in Lubbock. And
so we should have done this to begin with. My bad.
You're good, man.
So that's Devil
or God,
Devil
man.
or God, okay.
It's a duality deal.
Okay.
It's like, that's,
We'll get to that in a minute because I was actually watching some videos about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, your brother's Isaiah.
My brother's Isaiah. Man, we grew up in Idaloo. He told a little bit of our story.
Yeah.
As far as like what's there to do out there, and but I can just say, man, I discovered, I guess, what I would call aliens just in the most, obscure way that a lot of kids actually do. Okay, and so this even goes on how my name became D.o.G. It all ties in together, funnily, bro. Like, so have you ever heard of salvia?
The thing to smoke or something?
Yeah. Salvia. So like back, I would say I was like 15. So this was like 2005, around that time. You could go to the smoke shop and you could buy, it's like they sold it as like an incense, but essentially what they were selling was a legal psychedelic, right? So if y'all ever heard of DMT?
Mm-hmm.
So have you ever heard of DMT?
Yes.
So salvia is was a legal form of DMT.
Oh, okay.
So that's when you smoke it, most people, if you smoked it right, you're hallucinating. You have a complete sense of leaving your body, right? And some people report coming in contact with intelligences, with entities and stuff. That happened to me when I was 15. I didn't know, what was going on because I thought it was a drug. I was like, oh, damn, that's what drugs do to you. I don't ever want to do drugs again, right? Like, I didn't smoke. I didn't drink. Nothing. And then a few years later, I say actually like a year later, I say a few years because it took me a little bit to like get back on the smoking weed thing. So there's like times in your life where you come, like what psychedelics do to most people is they dissolve your boundaries. So we grow up with constructs of like what we should do. So like, for instance, my name D.o.G. goes to devil or God. So what that means, you can assume that I grew up religious. And if you assume that, you're right, man. My grandma was complete, Catholic, just all that stuff. So I feel like as a human being, most of us grow up with that duality of, one, you either believe in, you're going to go to heaven or hell, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second, as far as like besides outside of religion, you either believe you're going to go, you're either going to be dead or in jail, right? Those are your dualities. Like, if I'm not doing the right things, these are the two ways that I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So a lot of people, they're like, well, God, when I say devil or God, but I'm saying that's more of like a human duality that we all deal with. So that's the story on that. But the way I got there was through my trip, because I felt like I died. And the very first instant, you know, if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're feeling like you're going to hell. You know, like, damn, I shouldn't have been doing, you know, it was just one of those experiences. But, you know, I was able to, came out of that trip and it was a few years later, I was like, what was that? You know, I was interested in it. And it's funny because, like, I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast probably back like in 2010, man, when it first kind of started. He had like a few episodes out, but it was just basically him and Brian talking, man. And
Redman?
Yeah, Redman. He would have, you know, just a few guys, just his homies and shit. And they were talking about stuff that I've experienced, bro. Like, I had already smoked DMT by 2000. It was 2012, actually, when I first smoked DMT. But before we get to that, man, I had a lot of weird experiences with psychedelics, man, and I never did the research on them. Like, we were real naive about them. Like, man, we're going to eat some shrooms, you know, and stuff like that. But I never, like, followed up, and I don't know what caused me to do it. It might have been Rogan. It might have been another one of my friends telling me to go look up people. Mm-hmm. And so I just kind of started doing my research. And then coming all back around to the alien thing, it just kind of started making, it's weird because if you look into that.
My bad.
Oh, you're good. If you look into that like particular subject, what's, I guess, crazy, let's say like without the drugs, because apparently when people do get abducted or have an abduction experience or, you know, like an intense UFO experience to where they're like freaking out about it, you know, there are people that will come and visit them. And they have like a checklist, like, were you on, you know, any substances, were, you know, just a checklist to try to like confirm, you know, if this was a legitimate, you know, happenstance or whatever, right? Well, one thing, I listened to this guy, and if you're interested in this subject, go look up, his name is Terrence McKenna, right?
Was he on Joe Rogan?
No, his brother Dennis McKenna was. So
the Fire in the Sky guy?
No, that's Travis Walton.
Oh, okay.
Travis Walton was an abductee, but the Terrence McKenna is a guy that was talking about psychedelics before, like, the internet was even a big deal.
Yeah.
That guy right there, in my opinion, was kind of like, oh man, he was before his time, bro. Like, he was talking about stuff back in the 80s that we're doing now, like we're seeing now. Like, he kind of coined the term iPhone. But it wasn't like an iPhone. He wasn't thinking of it like, you know, iWatch, this. He was thinking of like, we're going to be wearing some things on our face type thing.
Oh, okay.
You know, but he came. I heard that first term iPhone from Terrence McKenna. But he's just a guy, man. Like, have you ever heard of that term? Like, when somebody tells you psychedelic, what do you think?
Tripping, just losing
tripping.
your mind.
Right. Have you ever met anybody that's never, like, you seem like a psychedelic person, and from what I've seen on your shows, you've never done drugs. Right?
Never. Weed has a psychedelic effect on me.
Weed is a psychedelic.
Yeah, boy, it's real heavy on me.
What a lot of people don't know, I mean, I got these books, but I can sit there and show you personally. I'll show you later. It's pretty cool. But there's 3 types of drugs. There's uppers, there's downers, and there's psychedelics, right? Your uppers are going to be like your speed, you know, your speed type, things that make you, you know,
crazy drugs,
stimulants. You know, you got your downers, you got, you know, opiates, alcohol, stuff like that.
My favorite.
And then you got your psychedelics, you know, and then there's 2 types of psychedelics. There's tryptamines, which that's why my Instagram handle is tryptamine08, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's penethylamines. Penethylamines are more, so mescaline is a penethylamine, right, that comes out of the peyote cactus. And so what also is a penethylamine, which I mentioned is a psychedelic, methamphetamine, Molly, you know, PCP.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that's what a lot of people don't realize. Like, your brain essentially runs on drugs. You know, that's what, we're just a soup of neurons, man. And if you could, like, take out any of the neurons in your brain and smoke them, you'd have a crazy experience, because there is something in our brains that if you smoked, it would give you that crazy experience, and it's called DMT.
I know my parents are about to pull up. I was wondering if I could hear them. Sorry about that.
Oh no, you're good.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always been. Now I'm more and more becoming interested in psychedelics, but I don't know. I don't know.
Do your research, man, and it'll at least do. Excuse me. It at least gives you an idea, because the thing is, so our world is made of language. We live in a reality of language. Like there's not a word that you can't think of that your brain pops up an image, like anything. So when you have an experience, a psychedelic experience, and let me even refrain, a breakthrough psychedelic experience where you're feeling like, you're not even in your body, you're in a whole nother place. You're experiencing objects and things that are unenglishable, right? Sometimes you even see intelligent entities where you're thinking these are angels, this is God, this is an alien, this is something else, like that's how your brain perceives it. What it really is, it's a type of hallucination. But what is a hallucination? It's a species of reality, because that's a type of reality that you're having. Like you could have a hallucination, a dream. So a dream is a hallucination. Have you ever had a dream so real you woke up and you're like, thank God that wasn't real? That's DMT.
I had a dream I got drunk last night and I was very upset with myself. So it's pretty real.
Isn't that crazy? That's DMT in your brain. So imagine being able to induce that kind of experience just on purpose, right? Your mind is so powerful, okay, that whatever is happening becomes reality at that point in time. So how does this tie into aliens, right? Well, I'm just like, this is my theory on it. Like saying, like, if the government has funded, studies or whatever, it started with this one. This book came out in 2001. It's called DMT, the Spirit Molecule.
I've seen that picture.
It's a doctor's revolutionary research into the biology of near-death and mystical experiences. So what he talks about in this book, it's like it doesn't get interesting till like towards the end, because he has psychedelic studies on LSD, psilocybin, MDMA, DMT, all those things. They stopped back in the 60s because of Timothy Leary. He was a Harvard professor who was like, tune in, drop out, like telling people to use, LSD pretty much. He was a real big advocate about, he has a quote. He was saying in the future, it's not going to be what books you're reading, it's going to be what drugs you're taking, which is kind of true, but drugs come in different forms. Anyways, they got banned in the 60s. And the model of study that they studied psychedelics on back then were it's called psychopharmacology. It's where they look at the effect of the drugs on the brain. And when they discovered LSD, they discovered that it kind of like, to people that were on, under the influence, they had mimicked psychosis. So psychedelics, what they actually called LSD, was a psychomimetic. It mimicked a psychotic state, which if you're tripping, right, you're kind of like your mind, you're especially like a heavy dose. That's what people got to understand. Like if you're taking like, all right, hey man, I want to explore my mind, and you eat like, let's say like 8 grams, five or more grams of some mushrooms or something. That's a heavy dose. Like, so the way I put this, like when people smoke weed, like, some people probably can't handle a whole blunt, right? They smoke a whole blunt and they're just asleep. There's some people that can just, like, I know people, it's funny, I have a friend, man, when I go smoke with him, I'll go roll up a whole blunt. When he smokes with me, he loads up like the smallest fucking bowl. But that's how he smokes, what I'm saying? He don't need that much. But so everybody has, that's like, if you have a headache, you're not gonna go eat the whole damn aspirin bottle. You're gonna go take 2 or 1 or whatever makes you feel right.
Everybody's different.
So when you dose yourself with psychedelics, you have to be aware of what you're taking. Otherwise, because if you eat 1 gram of mushrooms, it's not going to be the same like eating 2 grams. If you eat 5 grams, it's not going to be the same as eating 2 grams. You're putting more compounds in your brain that's actually like, your brain knows what to do with it. It's just kind of you're flooding it at that time, and your brain, it takes a little bit longer for your body to metabolize it. You know what I mean? So the more you take, it takes longer for your body to metabolize it. So the experience is going to be longer. Like most people can't handle a 6-hour trip, an 8-hour trip, a 12-hour trip. You know, that's what you're looking into. You gotta understand that's what you're going into. You know, so I was asleep all day. You know, I like to dive in and be able to get on my creative side. Like, I'm not saying I use things for music, because you should never use anything as a crutch. Like, hey, this helps me. But it is something, when I do finish music, I like to like trip, and I like to listen and just enjoy my work. You know,
Nice.
it does help me. Like, as far as like, maybe I'm hearing something that I didn't hear before. It just gives you a different perspective. Same thing with weed, man. Like, I'm gonna hear what this sounds like on weed. I'm gonna hear what this sounds like when I'm drunk. You know, it's different. Those are different realities that you're in. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, your brain reacts differently
So
to each of it, right? Whatever you're on.
yeah, anybody. It's like that's. So that's like, you know, that's where you can say everybody. You know, there are multi dimensions.
That's what's been interesting about sobriety. It's been like that.
How do you feel as far as like, do you feel more just, I guess, for me, when I'm sober, I'm like, hell yeah, I feel like I'm doing something right for some reason, you know?
I no, because when I drink, I don't feel, because I handle my business.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I never feel like I'm not supposed to be drinking.
Right.
But I'll say this, being sober a whole month has taught me, like, it is like a new reality. I feel clearer. I feel better. I feel like I can, I'm very, very, like, I always tell my sister, like, I'm scared of everything. I really, like, what I mean is I'm, like, always nervous and anxious. Dude, I fucking thought I was going to be abducted by aliens the other day, and I almost had just a severe anxiety attack.
What caused that?
I'll tell you in a minute. It's actually funny. And, but I was able to, like, if this makes sense to you guys, let me know. Like, it was a clean anxiety attack. Like, it was like, it felt better than me being in alcoholic sense of anxiety.
Oh, yeah.
It just felt better. I was like, okay, this is natural. This is how my brain is, but I can handle it better because I'm clear-minded. I'm able to rationalize things more. Well, so when this garage opens, it leaves cracks, and that light's really bright. So I seen like the strobe light just going back and forth outside, and I was like, oh, motherfucker, I'm about to be abducted by aliens.
Right.
And then I seen a red light, which was a fucking headlight over there, but it was just really bright. And I was just, my brain I can't be logical. That's my anxiety. I'm not logical at all. And I drove by the light, and I even knew what it was. I'm like, I'm going to be abducted by aliens.
Did you have a big imagination when you were a kid?
Oh, I still do.
Yeah.
I still do.
Yeah.
And it's just, with, aliens and all that. So that's why I thought I'd mention that. But sobriety is like a new lane. It is a new reality for me. It's weird. I like it.
I can admit, man, I've been smoking weed since I was like, I can say every day since I was like 15, right? I first started smoking earlier than that, way earlier than that, but like smoking every single day to like even like now type shit, right? Which I'm not proud of it, but that's just my reality. Mm-hmm. So my daughter, she had went through some things last year, to where we were quarantined, man, in the hospital for almost 3 months. I couldn't leave the room because of the circumstances that we were in there. This was before quarantine and all that, but I couldn't even go outside to smoke a cigarette, and that was like the first time that I ever had to like really get sober, and I can say that it was a different experience. It you kind of do get this you have. It's funny how you said you kind of come to terms with how your brain really is. Yeah. Without on anything.
That's what I knew. It was like, this is how I'm always going to be anxious. It's just how I manage it. That's what I learned. My
epiphany was not even that I'm an asshole, but I'm always on edge, like always. Like I'm always, and it's like kind of how you explain. It's not a logical reason. It's just I've always been like that. It's just kind of I don't know, man. I guess that it's like your personality,
Yeah, it's just the way the cards that were dealt to you, huh?
Yeah, you kind of get used to it, but it's things that you do numb out with, whether it's drinking. I never drank all the time, man. I've gone through like little phases where I was drinking a lot, And I like drinking. I just don't drink all the time. Like now that I'm older, I guess I used to never like the taste for beer.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, it tastes good, you know? Like I guess that's when you get older, your taste buds develop or whatever. But no, man, it took me a little bit to like, I guess, get back on that. Cause this is what I'm saying. When I got sober, I didn't want to smoke again. I did, but I didn't. I was like, man, I'm kind of on a good track, man. I can go fucking get a good job or something. But I got a good job. I'm like, it just gives you that. It's cool how it gives you the kind of that. Just it's a different kind of
like
freedom.
Confidence.
It's just the way we live, bro. I grew up for a long time, man. Like weed, I guess, to be honest, like with a lot of people, and I can always tell people like if they're struggling with that, like trying to go get a job and shit, and you know, like. Weed is a psychological, like, addiction. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I've seen it. I've seen people in their worst, and it was like, why?
It's bad. It's bad. It can get real bad, especially, like, when you're having to make, like, real decisions. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people, they have kids, and, you know, their girls expect them, like, when you have this kid, you're going to stop smoking weed. You know, like, that's part of you growing up. But when you're somebody that believes in something, right, because I don't believe weed is bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm going to sit there, I used to always have people sit there and tell me, like, the worst form, I think, or I guess when actually the best teachers for people, for me, was hypocrisy. So when people were sitting there like, you don't even be doing drugs and drinking and shit, it was hard for me to, I was like, I'm probably ain't going to do the drugs you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, if I were to sit here and tell you I've done every drug, bro, you're like, you know, that'd be like admitting I'm an idiot, man. Man, one time I smoked crack and I saw it. Like, I've never done any hard drugs in my life. The only reason that I ever leaned on psychedelics is because I did my research, man, and I saw the psychopharmacology, like the actual like therapeutic benefits from it, man. And they're not for everybody. I will sit here and tell y'all, man. Even like people say, like acid and stuff's not addictive. It can be psychologically addictive. If anything that's available to you can become addictive, you know what I mean. So you have to like really know yourself. You know, I have a great saying is like you should just say no. You know, not like what is it, Nancy Reagan? Is she the one that said that? Just say no. Remember
I think so,
that?
Yeah.
But not
makes
that,
sense. It was her.
Not that kind. I'm saying just say no as in KNOW. Know what you're doing, know where it's coming from, and really know yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you gonna be able to handle this? Because even like drinking, I've seen people. I heard the story. My chick was telling me like one of her friends got real fucked up and like got so fucked up she threw herself out the car, like because she wanted to fly. Who does that?
Yeah.
But
sorry.
I've heard. My bad. I tell you, I talk a lot, bro.
No, I like. Sometimes I like just listening, man. I need to embrace that part. I'm sure people are tired of hearing me just talk all the fucking time.
It's a perspective. I like to talk as far as like I have a lot on my brain, but I'm saying like.
Well, it's good when guys like you talk because you kind of know what you're talking about, and you fucking have. Obviously, you're invested in it, and it's good. Like you can tell you're very invested in it.
Oh yeah, man. And a lot of people think I'm like. It's funny because they like to think that I'm smart. Go read a book, and you'll probably you'll feel smart. Like
I was gonna say what you were talking about. Knowing yourself is probably the most important thing I've learned, and not even this whole month, just like these past months, and when you create a business and you create a model for who you want to be, like when you project yourself out here on YouTube every fucking week, you gotta know yourself. If I'm gonna sit here and talk to you and tell you things like that I believe in, I gotta fucking know myself.
Oh,
and
definitely.
it's fun, and it's been fun learning myself. I keep saying fun. I don't know if that's the right word, but discovering who I am and discovering what I like. It took 4 years, but it's crazy.
It takes time to be able to like, one, when you don't have like we're in Lubbock, bro. Like we're in we don't have. I tell rappers this all the time. We'll even hop on some rapping stuff because that's the thing about a lot of people don't understand. Like I do music. That's just like my lifestyle. I don't talk about it all the time. A lot of people don't even know this kind of stuff about me. I like talk this. This is this. When you come and have a conversation with me, this is probably the stuff I'm gonna talk to you about. You know what I'm saying? People are just like, man, this dude's weird. But it's like that's what's going on in my brain. The other day, me and my chick were having a damn argument. She's like, "Are we okay?" I was like, yeah, sorry, man. I just been on an alien kick, like for real. It just gets weird, go down a rabbit hole. But like with the music stuff, man, a lot of people don't realize here in Lubbock, we're not in an entertainment economy. It's not like Austin. It's not like Houston as far as Texas goes, right? But we're in Texas. It's not like California. It's not like the Midwest. We're in agriculture city. But with the changes that are happening now, I like to think that like with Joe Rogan moving to Austin,
It's gonna be awesome. It is awesome.
Everybody is moving there.
Yes.
I feel like that's what I've been telling people. I say Austin's gonna be the new LA.
It already is, yeah.
Lubbock's gonna be the new Austin. Houston's gonna be the new Dallas, and Dallas is gonna be the new New York.
I would, you know what? I'll say I pretty much wholeheartedly agree.
You know what I mean? I hope.
I don't know, because I've not been in this very long, but it just seems so crazy how much music is coming out of Lubbock right now. How many people do it? How much, like with Vari's doing, you know Vari.
I met him. Yeah, Vari's cool.
He's doing this 806 versus everybody. He's trying to do big things with it.
You gotta be like that,
the
man.
Buddy Holly Center's coming up.
That's huge.
It's like
that's gonna be huge,
motherfucker.
I wonder who's gonna come. I guarantee you, Joe Rogan's gonna come.
Comedy shows will be here. That'll be awesome
for sure.
And I'm so excited for that.
They're actually doing more of those, man. Super 806 at the Culture Lounge. They're doing a lot of stuff. Comedy show. They're trying to, man. That's actually now I can say that is the difference I'm seeing is that since we lost venues, because a lot of people don't know, like a lot of the people that are rapping now, even me when I got in the game, dude, I started rapping like this local scene. I started rapping like 2013, I would say, right? Somewhere around there. Maybe a little earlier, but like as far as like me getting noticed and people knowing who I am and booking me for shows and stuff, like it took a little bit, but there was already like there's been people that have come out of Lubbock, man. Y'all know that, right?
Yeah,
like,
I've heard.
Like,
yeah,
there's Mr. Coop has come out of Lubbock, man. There's been we got the Dixie Chicks that came out of Lubbock. Who else?
Of course, Buddy Holly.
Buddy Holly, yeah. But
just,
there's been a few people. I mean, I can't even think of the top of my head.
I can just think of country people right now, but they're pretty
as far
big.
as locally.
Yeah,
locally people are doing like I opened for Tech 9 in 2016.
Oh shit!
I've been the only artist to do that, and he's the number one independent rapper in the world.
I like him.
Got his own label, does his own like. When you look at rappers that have money, he has money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I can say the scene is getting better because when we came up, we had particular venues, right? And those promoters were cool, and they would book people, and we had these shows where it was like almost like a every weekend kind of thing. Every weekend at the old bar or whatever, man. So back, like, I can say like the good old days type of shit. Like, especially now everybody's saying the good old days was last year. But this, I'm saying like the old bar was open. They were having shows all the time, man. And we started bringing bigger people. We started bringing, did y'all ever watch that show on Netflix? It's called Rhythm and Flow. I've
heard of it, yeah.
One of my homies was on that show, and I actually met him, booking an artist that he was on tour with, and they came. It was cool, man. It was like, it sucked because the show was on a freaking Wednesday, and in Lubbock, only people that showed up were the people that I sold tickets to, and but it was like one of the best rap shows nobody's ever saw, type thing, But that dude went on to go do the BET Cyphers, and then went on to go be on that show in front of millions of people. So Lubbock does have that potential of bringing, like, that's what I like what Vari's doing with the 806 versus everybody. He's getting the city together, and he's trying to host these events to where it's like we got something, because there's nothing going on right now. Nobody's got the venues. Nobody's got I would even say just like the idea. People don't understand it's actually pretty easy to throw your own shows. Everybody's trying. That's why I'm actually like proud of the dude taking initiative and doing his own thing, because people just want to hop on bandwagons. Like when I throw my own shows, I don't know how many people get mad because I don't personally reach out to them. I don't know everybody. I know a few people, and I'm cool with a lot of people, but I don't personally know them to be able to involve them in the moves that I'm making. Because like you said, it's a business. And as far as like my music reputation goes, man, it goes on like my artistic credibility, man. If I go say, just because somebody's my homie or whatever, I can't be like, these people are cool. Like I'm with the group, man. When we really started going, it's Mafia Music, man. It's me, it's my homie Eddie Kane who really started this shit, and my homie Champ. And Man, we got a whole album, bro. We brought the whole fucking city together. There's people that you would never hear on a song in real life together. They would never kick it, but we got them on music. You know, we really brought we were one of the first to do it. Now, there's been some like technical shit with his studio, and so there's a reason why that particular album hasn't came out, but it is coming out. It's called La Familia.
Nice.
And you know, we are trying to make it. I've always tried to involve the people that it's like you gotta have ambassadors. You gotta have people that can break those doors down first, you know. And a lot of these young cats, man, they don't like to give respect to us older dudes, man. They think that they have it all figured out. When really, man,
I'll say that lack of respect for me, anyways, is because it's just me not knowing. I just didn't know.
Right.
That's why
Makes
there's
sense.
never been no respect given, because I didn't know. Obviously there's a lot more people who have done it a lot longer. Just I never heard of it, and then like I said, I'm new to this, and my only perspective is Vari and now yours, but it's like Vari, what he's doing is like his vision is like cool. Like to me, that's new for me. It's new for me. I don't know.
Bringing the city together.
I'm talking about like doing the Lone Star Amphitheater, like shit like that, like touring an 806 versus Everybody tour.
We try to do that with the Trillis out the 806, man. When they came out with the Trillis out the 806, shout out to my homie Ville, man. Like, there's only a few people that I will personally shout out because I personally fuck with them every day. They call me on my phone. We ask each other how we're doing. We're involved in like each other's actual lives, you know, not just what moves are you making and where can I benefit off of you and this and that. It's a cutthroat. Music is a cutthroat business.
At the end of the day, it is. Huh?
It's like, you know, but what a lot of people don't understand, man, is like there's a lot of things you can do yourself, man. Like if you heard my music, you know, the thing about me is I'm a one-man band, dude. I mix, master, write, record. You know, the only thing I don't do is shoot my own videos.
That seems like the smartest thing to do, especially now.
Dude.
Is to be able to do all that. And the music video thing, that whole, like I was saying earlier, that whole video editing shit is, I can't get into that, man.
It's hard, but it's like I was telling you earlier, like I record music, so excuse me, like seeing that program, seeing those things, it's not as different. It's not foreign to me. It's just like recording music. It's just there's a different element. It's like if you're a carpenter and you're like, man, I need you know, whatever that's called, right? A carpenter, somebody that's been doing it for years, knows the terminology.
Yeah.
You know, so it's terminology like, man, how do you do this effect? How do you get
Now I see what you mean.
You know what I mean? So it's like if you can get that terminology down, then you can go Google and YouTube and you're like, all right, that's how I do it. Like that one time, I don't know why I didn't understand. Like I was looking for an effect. How do people go like, yeah, man, dun, you know, like rapping or whatever? That's called a stutter effect. I'm like, I would ask people just, man, how do you do this, you know? Then I would like literally do what I just did. They're like, you mean the stutter? Like do the stutter?
Okay,
you know,
nice.
like this is how you do it. And so it's like even now I'm learning the terminology of still recording, even though I've been doing it for 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So there's still a lot of learning going into anything you do. Bro, you can YouTube anything, and especially with the music stuff. There's so many tutorials. That's how I taught myself how to record, and that's what I encourage any artist just to learn the process. That way, you know when you go record or you're anywhere, you know you're not getting fucked over.
That's what I was just about to say. Like that's why I think it's important to like at least know basics of it all. So you like.
So you're not getting fucked over.
Yeah, and then when you approach a guy, you're like,
this is what I want.
He knows you're legit, and he's like, all right, well, I think it just gives you more credibility.
Dude.
And that goes for any sort of fucking creative endeavor you're in, like online anyways, I think.
Dude,
you know?
I don't know how hard it is to get. Imagine trying to find somebody that's as passionate about this show as you are. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know what
Like
you mean.
they're trying to get the episodes out as fast as you are. They're trying to edit the videos as best they can, like you are. You know, you gotta find. It's hard to find those people.
That's honestly why I'm scared to like give it over to somebody else. Because at the end of the day, it's not mine. As hard as they'll work, as much money as I'll give them, as dedicated and loyal they are to me, it's not me. And I'm like, fuck.
The business part of it.
Yeah.
That's why you like the business part of it. Where it becomes that is just paperwork. If it's not documented, then there's no like you can't say.
Well, I just meant if like even like my best friend was like, hey, can I produce your show? I would still be like, because it's hard to let go of something you've created, like your baby.
Oh yeah.
It's just I think that's my next step in this is to let go of a lot of these things.
Well,
so I can focus more on more shit.
You learned it and you did it yourself. And it's like now you know what you're looking for. Like if you can't do that, okay, no hard feelings, man. But this, I know what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I guess
you know
right.
what I mean. Because what a lot of people don't, even in music, if you don't know what you want, anything in life, if you don't know what you want, you're gonna take whatever the fuck you can get, whatever comes your way. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then
you sell yourself short a little, huh?
We do that all the time. You know, I do that as like, especially you were saying you're somewhat of a perfectionist. You know, that's like the worst deal, man. With music, man, even like. With anything, I feel as long as you have a feeling towards it, like that's what, like, I have a bunch of songs, man. A lot of people always ask me, like, man, when are you gonna put out, you know, this song or this song or this song? You know, I record my own shit, and I'm learning things that other people that specifically work with computers, they're like, so let's say my computer crashed, they're like, man, you should have had a hard drive. You should have had an external hard drive. I'm like, fuck, you're right, you know. But I've gone through those problems where I've lost, you know, versions of my recording sessions and all that kind of stuff. So whatever I have now is what I have, and I could release it, but I'm such a fucking just one of my worst critic that I'm just like, man, it could be better.
Dude, I have a hard drive with all my shit that I've ever recorded off of that and these, and I'm thinking I'm gonna put it in my will, like, whoever gets these after I die, burn them, destroy them. I don't want nobody ever to fucking get into them. Like, I'm just gonna carry them with me. Like, that's my personal thing, and I think I'm gonna put it in my will. Like, you might be able to watch it once, but after that, delete it. Just throw it out there. I don't want nobody to see it.
Just there's like full episodes, or there's
a bunch of full episodes that I've never released. Just a bunch of me recordings of me just talking shit.
Fuck it, man.
You know, but it's
what if you blow up?
I just have this hard drive, and I'm like, this is pretty much my life. This is the snake pit. This is me. I don't want nobody else to have it.
It's like your memoirs.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of your life documented, but it's on YouTube.
You ever hear Lil Wayne? His like writing process. He doesn't write. He don't write, and you ever hear why he said that?
Because he's been fucking doing music since he was little.
Well, he said he doesn't want no evidence. He's like he don't want to be like Kurt Cobain and people reading his shit.
He's like, if I write it, you can read it.
Yeah, that's exactly that video exactly. And I've carried that with me. Like, I don't ever want anybody to have any evidence of what I did.
I like writing. Like, I have...
well, I journal, but I also want to put that in the will, burn them when I'm dead.
I don't know why it's a gift. Why is it a gift to be able to write good? Like, how is that a gift? You know what I mean? Like, when I rap, people are like, that's a gift, mijo. But, like, how is it a gift?
To be, like, an actual, like, songbird, or just to have, like a way with words. Yeah.
I think you can be inherently good at it, but, like, anybody could just... I think that thing just takes practice, right? Because you've probably done it so much.
I don't know.
I started rapping by listening to Eminem, and his CDs, like, on the album covers, you could read his lyrics while he was rapping. And Eminem is as perfect as you get as a rapper, like, especially old Eminem. And he had his lyrics on there, and you're reading them, and you're like... I personally give that credit to teaching me how to rap, how to write, especially like with how particular I am with my syllables and making sure I want things to go in and out. I got a shitload of things. When I write a song, I don't particularly write like, it's weird because sometimes you'll have things like kind of in your head where you're like, I like this, and I have an idea, and I'll try to do like the Lil Wayne thing where I just kind of remember it. But sometimes you have ideas, you have to write them down. Like I wake up fucking, I'm like, I'll be up taking a piss, and I'm just like, piss, and I don't hit him. Oh, that's pretty good. I'll go put it in my phone and stuff, and then later back I'll go back and I'm like, that was whack, But there's times, man, where I don't know. Have you ever heard of like people, I guess, working through a muse? Have you ever heard of that?
Not really, but what do you mean? What does that mean?
The best way I could explain it, man, is like you just kind of channel the right energy where it feels like something is working through you. And it's not you. It is you. You're in control of it, but it's muse. It's just a muse, man. It's just like kind of you're channeling something. And it's just kind of talking through you. That happens to me a lot. Sometimes I can tell when it's me when I'm writing, and other times I can tell when it's like something else. So like, I'm trying to think, man. I got so much music. I can't even think on the top of my head of ones I've got. But I got like, Rolling up a swisher, trying to paint a bigger picture. People thinking that we're equal, but really I beg to differ. I'm a smoker, not a drinker. Still, I'm pouring up some liquor for the ones who've been forgotten or we forgot to remember. I've been tired of stressing and fighting off this depression, questioning every answer that's given and second guessing, making the same mistakes, maybe learning another lesson. I see the man in the mirror, but don't recognize my reflection. Like when I wrote that, I was doing some fucking competition deal. It's a song called Murder Everything. It's like a remix by Jaron Benton. But when I made that, man, like I was in the hospital with my daughter and I had the whole studio set up in the room and shit. And like literally, man, it was like me being able to like it's therapy for me. I'm able to explain how I feel, able to explain, you know, I can talk about it, but it's like for me, I can get it off. I can literally physically get it off of me. You know what I mean? Like whatever I'm feeling, like an emotion. Get it off of me, and then I'm able to just kind of go to the next one, man. I've had some dark ones where I'm like, I'm intoxicated, it ain't complicated, drugs and alcohol in different combinations. I confront my demons, we have conversations every time I'm out, getting high and wasted. That was a dark part of my life, like something that, I don't know, it was weird, like something I carried for a long time, but when I made that song, then didn't feel that way no more. You know, it's like their energies, man. Like people do, like even us having this conversation, you know, I don't want to put no bad energy on either one of y'all. You know what I mean? So I try to keep it positive and stuff like that. But you don't realize, like, even with our best, closest people, they come and they tell you their problems, man. They're putting energy on you, you know, and you got to have some kind of way of getting it off, you know, being able. Otherwise, it consumes you. You know what I'm saying? So I believe in.
That's how witches work. I'm telling you.
Energy, man. Nikola Tesla said, if you want to figure out the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibrations, you know, and I
think we're scientists tapping into that a little bit. It's becoming more mainstream, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Especially like vibrations and sound and just like physically sound. Like it's menacing and it's cool.
Have you ever seen those pictures where they got the plate of rice?
Yeah.
That's so crazy. That shit's like, what the fuck?
Hey, Jim, what are we at right now?
42.
I drink too much sweet tea. I got to take a piss, man.
Oh, you're good, bro.
So y'all go ahead and talk. Don't let there be any silence, Jim. That's your job. Please.
Okay.
Talk about something, please.
Can we edit so I can smoke a cigarette? Or do you want to just keep going?
Y'all just keep going, and then when I come back, you go smoke a cigarette. No editing, man. No editing.
And when you come back, I'll come back around to the alien things, because I know everybody's like,
Oh, I was going to.
They want to know.
Yeah.
So, this book's called, oh, my bad.
Okay.
Inner Paths to Outer Space. So, basically...
And I would like to revisit, like, the whole psychedelic conversation, just because I'm really interested in it. I've done shrooms twice.
Okay.
Both in the same week. It was, like, months ago. And
how many did you eat?
Okay, so the first time I did 2 Gs. That was my first time ever.
That's a good dose.
Yeah, it was awful.
For you? Like you talking about physically? Did you get like bubble guts?
Physically, no, like mentally, like it fucked me hard. Like I did it alone.
That's okay.
I did it alone, but also I was in the process of packing up my old apartment to move to my new one. So I took them, and then I started taking stuff off my walls and putting stuff in boxes, and then it started hitting me, and I got this like weird existential. It was weird, but it was one of those like.
Did you feel like you had an ego like experience? Like you felt kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, because I mean,
feel like almost like a. It was like this like realization of like mortality type shit.
They'll do that.
Yeah, and it was awful because it's like my actions weren't my actions, you know, and it was just awful. But then I did it a few days later with my best friends, and I had the best time, and I feel like Did
you feel safer?
I felt safer, but also just like I feel like I came out of that almost with like a better like mindset, or kind of just like with like a more like motivated approach to things, you know. But it trips me out how like I'm scared to have like a repeat of that first trip, you know. But because it's like I smoke weed every day by myself. Like I don't like to smoke weed like in a group setting. I like to smoke it by myself, you know. So I feel like if I would like to trip again, like that. I would like to do it alone again. I'm just like,
Well, Terrence McKenna, that guy I was talking about, he encourages people to do it alone. He encourages people to do it in a dark room. Like if you want to, like, because this is a thing.
I think that's how I do it. You go to unmute me.
my bad, sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
What she was talking about, she took 2Gs, and she said her first experience, she felt, she kind of felt an existential type of, experience, which what the people that talk about in these books that study, these are like the actual, Rick Strassman is a guy that studied DMT out of New Mexico. And what's interesting about mushrooms is mushrooms are an orally active version of DMT. What that means is if you got a synthesized version of DMT or extracted it from a root bark, it comes in like a powdery form. It kind of looks like, have you ever seen hash, like crumble or shatter?
Well, I've seen what DMT looks like. So yeah.
So it it's a powder, but if you were to eat that powder, your body has...
It really wouldn't work, would it?
No, your body has what's called monoamine oxidase, and that breaks down any amine compounds, which dimethyltryptamine is one of those compounds. So in the Amazon, that's why ayahuasca is so fucking like pharmacologically crazy. Like even before science discovered that they have a bark and a leaf, the leaf cuts off your body's enzymes that breaks down DMT so you can have an orally active experience. They've been doing that for 1,000 years. How? They say the plants taught them. Okay? Psilocybin is 4-phosphoryloxy N,N-dimethyltryptamine. That's what mushrooms are. So they're a different pharmacological orally active version of DMT. Your body knows your body converts it into, it's psilocybin, your body converts it to psilocin, and then it breaks down into, it's DMT essentially, but it's not being broken down by your gut. It's being broken down different ways. What you had is called an ego death. So it's an uncomfortable experience.
I feel that.
It's like
that makes complete sense.
For me,
reflecting on it.
For me, when I have those, I feel like the world's ending.
Yes.
I feel like
I got so fucking terrified that night.
It feels like
I had to call my friend to come get me because I was trying to check myself into a hospital.
No, you don't want to do that. And I'm gonna tell people right now.
I was like trying to commit myself type shit.
Let me put it this way: if you're not terrified of this experience, because that terror actually solidifies the experience. So what will tell you how real something is or how good a drug is how quick somebody is to do it a second time, right? If like, I'm pretty sure you were a little hesitant to do it that second time.
I was hesitant, but also I had kind of just told myself like, this is not going to kick your ass. Like, it's just not. And I was just kind of curious to like do it again.
If you open up that book, there's I don't even know what page it's on, but they talk about set and setting.
Okay.
So I'll just explain it. So what your set and setting was when you did it by yourself is your set was, you said you were moving.
Yeah. Right?
You're going through a change there, and then your setting was eventually an empty house.
Yeah.
So your set is technically like who you are, what your mind state is. All that stuff goes into effect on your psychedelic experience. If you're with, that's why most people would recommend having a sitter, having somebody that you trust to be like, hey man, you're okay. You took some mushrooms, or you took something, you're gonna be all right, man. It's good to have that, but it's also good to be able to, like those trips by yourself, they don't get any easier. They get, if anything, it's like kind of like therapy work, man. Like if you do psychedelics right, you're gonna go into your subconscious technically, and you're gonna figure some things out for yourself. You're gonna have to face the answer. You're gonna have to face the truth. And then once you kind of get past that, most people describe those kind of experiences, those existential experiences and those ego death trips as bad trips. That's the definition of a bad trip. Like, no, I don't ever want to do that shit again. It made me understand I was an asshole. But they're good for you. DMT for me was like 20 something years of psychotherapy in like 5 minutes. It was like, oh shit, okay, that's why I am the way I am. Like, because I was raised this way. That's when I said earlier, I said psychedelics dissolve your boundaries. They dissolve your normal ways of thinking, and they allow you to really see things for what they are. You're like, man, this shit ain't really important. Like, me working for doing something that I don't enjoy doing, you know, whether it's working or, you know, relationships, whatever it is, you will face that truth. You will face that answer about yourself, and you'll have those kind of experiences. Me personally, I love those experiences. Not while they're happening, but like, because when you get past them, it's kind of like you survive something.
Yeah, so I would say, so like these psychedelic experiences, you speed that process up. You're condensing it in a finite time. And I was going to say, with being sober, it was like that, but over a month. It's day 30 of 31 days. I didn't have this immediate like confrontation with myself. It's like, it was different every day. It was different, like.
Have you meditated? Have you ever meditated?
I can't. I try. My brain just too much.
That's the way I explain people. Do you feel like you get in a meditative state when you do stuff like this? Like you get more in a flow state?
Oh yeah, when I'm doing this. I'll say this, dude, this is how I fucked up. Like I remember I did yoga, and at the end, you know, you kind of are in a meditative state. You're quiet. You're like supposed to relax. I could like feel my, whatever it was, like fight relaxation. Like I could feel it inside me. Yeah. Just fighting it. I'm like, oh God, this is something that needs to be released some way.
What's really crazy?
I just don't know. Working out.
One of my deepest DMT trips I've ever had pretty much was telling me you don't need to smoke DMT. You do this shit naturally in your brain. It was telling me that. My body was telling me that. And I'm like, how? There's people that like talk about like, you know, you can holotropic breathing and stuff like that.
Well, there's other ways. I mean, like I think that's what like drugs do. They speed up, you know, years.
They're catalysts. I believe they're catalysts. They just set off a natural reaction that already goes. Yeah. But like for me, I'm a person that's hard to get off that baseline of consciousness. Like when people talk about, so this is the thing about going back to the alien thing. When people talk about like, this is what's funny about DMT. So when they this book right here, in the 90s, the government did a search where they could study DMT. And this guy had a bunch of volunteers, man. And he went into it like, because LSD helped kind of like, LSD put the map on psychopharmacology as far as that's the reason why we have antidepressants now. That's the reason why we have antipsychotic medication and stuff like that, because they had studies on this particular deal, which it was like the model that they were studying that was totally like to figure out where schizophrenia and all that stuff comes from. So when they stopped doing those searches, kind of the reason he got to do it back was because you kind of had to do it in that same model that it was originally studied in. So he's like, if DMT is in your body and in your brain, then maybe that's if we can figure out if that's what's causing schizophrenia, since it's endogenous, which means that your body makes it, you know, maybe that's an avenue we can go down, right? So when it comes down to going through this book, and the very like half of this, like this is him going through the FDA and just getting things approved, right? Yeah. And then the rest of it is him talking about the experiences the people had. And they're all having like alien abduction experiences. They're all meeting entities. They're talking to God, like some of them have.
I've heard it's a one-way radio to God.
It's crazy.
Full disclosure, kids, these drugs are illegal and they are classified as drugs. Just had to say that.
They are Schedule 1, but we're all holding technically. So you're holding a Schedule 1 drug in your brain. You're holding a Schedule 1 drug in your brain, and so am I. You used it last night, man. So don't.
But when you have it in your hands, it's illegal and you can go to jail.
Don't dream. Oh, definitely. I don't propose it. I just read about it, man. It's awesome. It's good because I feel like I'm just going on this kick because if the government funded this, and that's what happened, and then he wrote that book, which, can you read that bottom? What does that say? Like the whole title of that book.
Inner Paths to Outer Space, Journeys to Alien Worlds Through Psychedelics and Other Spiritual Technologies. So
if he went that direction on that book, right, it's pretty neat.
I'll say this. My knowledge of aliens, of course, you know, you can take your own path and you can formulate your own opinions. I get my shit, of course, off of Joe Rogan and his, you know, the Bob Lazar, Cantrell dude, that dude who got abducted.
Travis Walton.
Just all these people telling their shit. So this is where I get. Oh, he had another guy, the Israeli guy, who talked about how that object could have been from actually alien made.
The Interstellar deal.
So what I'll say is what I learned from that is I gathered from like Neuralink, because like Lex Friedman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they talking about Neuralink, which is a chip or something in your brain connects to your phone or a cloud or whatever, and you can like use that to like conversate.
Sorry.
Is that your car?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to find it.
Again, this is loosely just me speaking loosely and very uneducated. I'm just saying this. But so Lex Friedman and Joe Rogan were talking about that little Tic Tac thing that was on San Diego. And one of Lex Friedman's comments really struck to me. Rogan was like, what if we could find the pilot? And then Lex Friedman, I think it was Lex Friedman, was like, what if that thing was not piloted by an actual being? What if it was the being's brain was the fucking craft? And I was just like, I just go down this rabbit hole of like aliens being, whether it is psychedelic or whatever, on another, like they're telepathically like extra dimensional beings because they figured out how to do it. Is that how you see it? Like they're just extra dimensional because they're so advanced, or is it just?
It's the way I think about it. It's something like that because
that's just a very lame, loose term. How I see it, I can't explain it further than that. They're just I just think they're so advanced. If they can come here, they're so advanced. They figured out how to like basically make their bodies into machine.
So that so advanced thing that you're saying, right? So humans evolved. We come on the fossil record about 100,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And then we're a certain thing for a long time, and then in the fossil record it takes it's like a 10,000 year span where our brain
doubles. That's fact. That's actual fact.
Terence McKenna, he proposes. So like there's the story of the Anunnaki coming down and all that. He has an awesome theory, bro. He's talking about the monkeys coming down, our ancestors, wherever, or evolution type shit, came down from the grasslands, right? Because this was in the Sahara Desert. That used to be a grassland where we came from.
Yeah.
We were tree dwelling apes. And when things were drying out, becoming a desert or whatever, becoming a grassland, we came off the trees and then we started scouring for different kinds of foods, because as far as like what we can eat, we're pretty diverse. We can eat bugs, we can eat fruit, we can eat meat, we can eat just anything.
It's not poisonous, huh?
So we're flipping over things. We're flipping over cow shit, and we come across mushrooms. Huh? So he believes that it's called the stoned ape theory.
That's what I thought it was.
He believes that mushrooms, started language and started, or religion and stuff, right? Art, all that. Which is a fucking amazing theory. That's thinking psychedelic.
Have you ever heard that, like, the Earth is a giant mushroom? Just a whole big connection of...
That's what I feel,
a big old fungi.
I feel that when I...
Do you know that guy with the mushroom hat on Joe Rogan?
Paul Stamets.
He's basically said that. Like, it's just one big mushroom, and...
It makes sense.
We're all just connected to it. I believe, man, that's like some spiritual shit. I think we lost when we became more advanced in, like, city.
You know what Terence McKenna says mushrooms are? He says that life didn't evolve here, but intelligence did.
Yeah.
So let's say mushrooms, the spores of mushrooms can survive the vacuum of space, right? So think of the idea of panspermia. They came from another planet, and they could have came here, come across, we eat it, and say we trip, and people have these communications that say you're eating something and the mushroom is like a phone. Say you eat, it's like a biological chemical phone. You eat it. And you whatever's on the other side. That's what he proposes.
I don't know. I do. I mean, that brain growing inside is fact. And you know what? It really doesn't even terrify me to think that we were engineered. For whatever reason, I don't know. What if we were just because they can? Or...
We're pretty badass.
Yeah.
We're pretty badass. But check it out. If we evolve to where we're at right now, we can't even conceive of something that evolved even 100 years before us. You know what I mean? Or like, let's say it had 1,000 years. The fuck does that even look like?
Yeah, that's what he says. Like, if we can survive without killing ourselves, what are we going to be like in a million years?
That's what I get when you were talking about the Lex Friedman quote, like, or the comment. That's what I think. I'm like, damn, yeah, if they were 1,000 years old, like they I don't know.
And then it ties into that Bob Lazar thing. Like, what if they just were spawned in a place where element 115 was natural and it was growing there, and they used it to be. You know, it's just if you can connect dots, dude. It's fucking nuts. But what I was gonna ask you, because I don't want to like theorize and speculate, because I don't know if aliens are real. They more than likely are. There's too much in this fucking...
Smoke some DMT.
There's too much... There's billions upon billions upon billions of galaxies, let alone,
they
planets.
Call it the Drake equation?
That one. What I was going to ask you is this, and I've asked my stepdad this. If there's life somewhere else, and it can reach us... Oh, well, if there's just life in other... Let's say there's one other species like us somewhere else in this universe. Does the universe follow a universal law, in the sense like if they're able to create cities and travel the stars, do they believe in like, do they think like murders, do they have this sense of right and wrong? Do they have a conscience? Do they follow some sort of because when you're born, you're not evil. Mm-hmm. You're just trying to survive, and then you just good and evil. I'm saying, is there good and evil in every sentient life across the universe if it was real? You know what I mean?
I would think so.
Does that make sense?
I would think so. Because we're the most sentient thing that we're aware of, and we think that way.
Because I was just thinking, like, if something came over, what if something came over here trying to be hostile? Does that mean that they have other life over there that opposes that because they're not supposed to kill? You know what I mean? Do they follow law and order? Does that just happen naturally with intelligence? I don't know, man. I was just thinking about that. Like,
well, what is intelligence? Like people.
Well, I just mean like, okay, like consciousness.
Does intelligence include like emotion and all those things into play? Like because that's what they say with like AI. If AI came in a sense, it would be a completely intelligent deal, but it would lack emotion.
Okay, yeah, that's what I mean. Like motion. I meant like love. I really did like love and.
Well, I mean emotion. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like if we make.
Okay, yeah. Do they have emotions, and do they have reason?
Would AI have emotion? What kind of like at a certain point, that's what a lot of these scientists say, is that's what inhibits us from being able to like even go farther down. That's, when people do science, they're over there testing animals. They're over there testing things. So intelligence has no morals.
No, I just wondered like if there's a universal law across the whole universe, that something like...
When I trip,
that we follow.
I feel like there is. Yeah. I feel like there's that's funny. This is stupid to say, but I feel like there's consciousness police, bro. I feel like not only here, but I feel like when you trip, you're fucking seeing something you're not supposed to be seeing until you die or something. So it's like you have these entities that are like, what the fuck are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people get those. Like they're like, you're seeing something, what is DMT? Why is it in our brains? I think it's something that, like, for animals and stuff, maybe it's that deal that makes you die easier. Like when a cheetah eats a gazelle, it's that deal that...
Have you seen those videos?
Yeah.
It's pretty brutal.
But I'm saying, like, for the gazelle, they're just like, they're over there, like, screaming and shit, but it's like it's maybe... Because DMT, when you smoke it, it's like anesthesia going through your body. It's like... You're like... And you're, like, kind of asleep. So I'm assuming it is something that helps you when you die.
Does your brain release it when you die?
Yes.
That's what I've heard, right?
Your brain gets released during birth. It gets released during even with the woman and a child. It gets released during stressful times, during the dream state, and then at death is when it's like your brain pumps it. They just don't know what organ pump. They don't know where it comes from. They theorize it's your pineal gland.
The third eye or whatever.
Dude, it's pretty cool. He talks about it right here. He's saying where he says Strassman research connects DMT with the pineal gland, considered by Hindus to be the site of the seventh chakra, and by Rene Descartes to be the seat of the soul. Saying that the pineal gland is like where organically your soul enters and leaves.
The soul, didn't they this guy die and they weighed his body, and when his soul left, it was
21 grams or something.
A little lighter.
I wonder if that's true. I really don't know.
Then that goes into my other my question earlier is like, does life somewhere else have a soul? You know, does the Almighty govern that fucking life? Is there an Almighty that governs all of it? You know what I mean?
You know what I always thought? Like when you read the Bible and stuff, and just kind of like, just a kind of, not an open mind, but just kind of read it with the, not even, I don't know how to explain it, but I remember one time I came across this, I was like, they're just telling us God's just a fucking alien.
Basically, huh?
It's just kind of like,
maybe he was planting his seed everywhere.
you know what I mean? Like just something weird. Like just, it's just kind of what they say.
Have you seen? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. They talk about the Anunnaki in the Bible, bro.
That's a pretty interesting read about like gold and slavery. That's where we got our lust for gold and slavery is because of them.
Said Noah was an alien. Like in the Dead Sea Scrolls and stuff. There's a book where they talk about when Noah was born, which that's a funny story. Like he built a boat and there's a flood.
There's a spaceship.
But like. I watch Ancient Aliens, man, and they got some good.
I love that show.
They got some good ones, bro. And
there's
like,
a lot of goofy shit on that, but you're right. There's some like what?
Good shit, bro. Like, man, who the hell? Like, I want to know.
I want to have that guy on here, Giorgio.
I want
to have him on here.
He's pretty cool. His hair, you got that guy's hairs or something.
He was on Rogan way early.
He really was, and that was a good episode.
Yeah.
I thought it like he wasn't. There was a few guys, man, that were on there that they were just like they didn't like kind of live up to the. They were good, but they just didn't live up to the fucking like. You know, what I was expecting him to be, but that dude did. And then another one that, like, kind of got my brain blunt, like, just like, whoa, was Graham Hancock. Did you ever hear Graham Hancock? Bro, go listen to Graham Hancock.
Who's that?
The Joe Rogan ones. He's this dude from the, he wrote the book, what he wrote? The Fruit of the Gods, bro. Oh, no, not The Fruit of the Gods. Terrence McKenna wrote The Fruit of the Gods. He wrote, he wrote a bunch of books, man. I had this other one, it was called, damn, man, I'm going blank. He's kind of a historian, man. He's one of those guys that goes back and visits like ancient sites, and he's over there like trying to rewrite history. Like they're trying to tell us that Egypt is 7,000 years old.
Yeah,
and he's like, nah, it's older.
He's way older.
He's that guy. Yeah. And he even went with like John Anthony West and other people, and like, man, there's water erosion and just kind of all that. But he even goes into like Göbekli Tepe and says that that's a 12,000-year-old structure. He's just explaining that we're a species with amnesia. We don't know our true history. Like even shit, Atlantis might be real.
No, that's the idea. Like, yeah, I've always heard that like humans have been around a lot longer than we know about, in a lot different places. But it's like, do we just forget, or is there a reason why that's not like common knowledge? You know what I mean?
There's stories.
Do people want to hide that, or not to be all like conspiratorial, but like why is that not like common knowledge? That because I know I've heard like a lot of mainstream like scientists will argue about humans being here in the Americas in a different time than they actually really kind of were.
That's pretty cool. Like the Native Americans and shit. Like I am wondering why. I watched this deal about them making those pipelines. Like I guess it was on
the
Vice.
Keystone? The Keystone Pipeline?
I think that's what it was. Yeah. Where they like Obama wrote off for them not to do it, and then as soon as Trump was president, they went ahead and made those pipelines.
Biden completely closed it down again.
Yeah, it's crazy, but I wonder why they're still like, even to this day, it's crazy. They're still persecuting the shit out of fucking Native Americans, man. It's like the stuff that was going on back then. It's kind of weird. Like when I watched that, I was like, it's like they kind of like, I don't know. It was just kind of like history repeating itself type thing, like what we heard about when people came to colonize the Americas of just like genocide and shit with the Native Americans. It's kind of like still happening. It's weird, but
that's a different. I don't know if people like my opinion on that.
It's crazy.
It's
what's your show, man? You got to talk about it.
Yeah, I have before. It's just
it's weird as far as like I think that's some conspiracy shit. Even like. Us being Hispanic, like I can assume that all of us grew up maybe Catholic, right?
Yeah, it's a fair assumption. Yeah, here, I mean Catholic.
Yes.
So it's like, but like when I had my first psychedelic trips, I got to tap into my Native American roots. I'm like, why am I seeing hieroglyphs and shit? Like you kind of tap into certain things that you get ideas of reincarnation. You get ideas of just like I wasn't taught this. Why am I experiencing this if I wasn't taught this? But that's that whole boundary dissolving thing that I was talking about, man. It allows you to start thinking it allows you to kind of like look at your programming. It's like the way Joe Rogan explains it. You have this, you see this like, okay, this is what it is. Now you can either go back to your old ways of thinking or add in this new shit that you just kind of brought in and be like, you know what, this is what works for me and this is what doesn't. That's kind of where I'm at. And it taps into my music too. Like I try to talk about, it's hard to talk about these kind of things. Like it's funny, when I first started music, I wanted to be that guy. Like I'm gonna talk about, you know, not drugs, but like not, I guess kind of be a conscious rapper kind of deal. I wanted to be like the whole devil or God thing. I wanted to be like, I'm gonna rap about, you know, the dark psychology of you know, of the addiction side of us and the fucking the whatever, the street side of us, and then, you know, the righteous side of us trying to, you know, me speaking my conscience type shit. And it's hard to do that. You know, I am who I am, and when I talk about this kind of stuff, it's because this is the shit that I'm actually fucking interested in. Like, what is life? I've had these experiences. It's like when people go to church and somebody goes up there and gives a testimony. Oh, I did this. I cheated on my husband, and then I cheated on my wife, and I did, you know, found God. But it's like I did these things, and I heard Terrence McKenna talking about the experiences, or I heard Joe Rogan talking about the experiences, and I'm like, I had that same fucking experience. Like these people are telling the truth type deal. You know what I mean? So that's like all I'm out is to like just find. They say find the others. And the way I explain that is finding the people that remind you kind of yourself. You're like, you find yourself in other people. That's you finding the others, of just being able to like kind of network.
Yeah, I've been.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've been thinking about going back to church, to be honest. I don't know.
If it works, it works for you. It works for you.
Yeah, I'm not all. I grew up in that shit, and I'm not all into that hoopla of testimonies and ceremonial stuff and God spoke to me type stuff. I'm not into that. I just like I think for me that's the avenue for me to be a sacrifice, like something, you know, you kind of, I think sacrifice is good for you as a person. It's a good thing for community. You know what I mean? It just teaches you to like be a little bit more selfless. I think church does, whether you believe in God or not, whether that shit is real, I don't know. Who knows?
I can say before I ever did, I always thought I did believe in God, like because I was told to, right? And so, and I'm not gonna say I met God through DMT. That'd be bizarre. I could never say I met God, but I experienced what I felt God was, and that was kind of what you were asking about, like the universal law thing. Mm-hmm. You feel like you're just everything. You feel like you're one with everything. Oh. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like kind of like what people say, you feel like you are God. It's not exactly that, but it's like you kind of like understand that you're like a fucking, you know, Jesus says this deal in the Bible, you know, like the church is not just one thing. It's the body has many parts. It has a head, it has arms, it has legs and a body, you know, so that's kind of what it is. You kind of like feel like, oh shit, man, I'm one of God's, you know, nutsacks. I'm in God's nutsack. I'm God's nuts, man. That's what I am. And then somebody else is his arm and other people. You get what I'm saying? You feel like you're a part of a bigger thing. And you're like, wow, okay, I get it. Really, the best way I can explain it, you seen The Matrix?
I haven't seen it, but...
You've never seen The Matrix?
I don't even know if I want to watch it.
Bro, go watch that movie, man. How have you not watched it? How old are you?
I'm 24.
That's why you haven't watched it.
How old are you?
30.
Jen's 32, so...
Have you seen The Matrix?
I'm 27, and no, I haven't seen The Matrix.
I gotta watch The Matrix.
How old is your brother? Y'all the same age?
He's 30, actually. I'm 29. I'll be 30 this year. It's funny.
Are y'all Irish bros? You ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Y'all
we
are?
Yeah.
Nice.
I think so. We look a lot alike, man. What's funny is this is episode 91, right?
90, bro. 90. Oh, no, this is 91. My bad.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, because I was born in 91.
Oh,
I'm
shit.
I'm schizophrenic in that way, man. I'm
like numbers and shit?
Numbers fuck with me, bro.
See, that's what I'm saying, man. You open your mind to that, you just start seeing it. That's what I feel about witches. They fuck with you like that, man.
Oh, yeah. Witches are real, man.
They know how to play on your brain, dude.
When I was younger, I had somebody trying to do some, like, real witchcraft shit on me when I was younger, bro. I used to walk through this certain path, man, and it was like a circle with a fucking dead cat in it. It was a dead cat, and nobody ever touched that thing. That thing went from fucking. I remember seeing just a black cat to it going down into a damn skeleton. And I got a buddy, man. His mom's a curandera, and she's a good one. She's a good one, man. She blesses people. She's not, she's trying to like rub off the bad juju type shit, man. And I showed her, and she was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Yeah." Somebody. This is the thing, man. I don't believe in anything. I'm one of those people. Like, I talk about a lot of this stuff.
What do you mean you don't believe in anything? What does that mean?
That means I don't believe in...
You just kind of just take it for what it is, or what?
No, I don't... If I say I believe in something, that means I'm claiming that I have the answer.
So you don't even believe in yourself? Is that what you're saying? Like, in that sense,
no,
too?
I don't. I don't believe... I think this is... what I believe... When I say I believe, what I really think things are, right? It's we're in some kind of like... simulation. That's what I think. And the reason I say that is because of this right here. If you have if you have the most powerful hallucinogen in your brain, and it's responsible in your normal consciousness, what does that tell you? You know what I'm saying? That's a guy that studies it. This dude has a master's degree. And whatever,
That's credibility for you guys. These people studied it.
So that's what he's telling you.
Sorry. So what about your damn witch story, man?
Yeah, that's what happened. And
Roy likes to get scared.
I do.
So I'm like...
I like spooky stories.
I used to go to my buddy's house and walk all the time to just go smoke some bud and shit, man. And I just kind of like felt... I used to even have... I swear, man, I would just hear like people just say my name. Like, that's the thing about even psychedelics, man. Like, I would just be walking out here, Zachary. And I'm like, there's nobody around. Unless it's just somebody just fucking with me, like my dad fucking with me from a mile away or something, But it wasn't ever that. Maybe it was psychological, whatever. And then I remember coming back, and I don't know why I noticed it, but it was like you could tell somebody took their fucking time to make that thing, dude. It's like I have a grassy plain, and then it was just like in the middle, they made a little dirt pad, and then in the middle of that circle was a dead cat. And I passed it every day. I never touched it or nothing like that, which was good. Because they say, like, supposedly, like, people can fucking, like, I'm going to curse this fucking stick, and you step on the stick and break it, and now you're cursed type shit.
I believe it.
That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. Some shit happened when I was really, really little. And I was told later on, but my mom went to a curandera because my parents were having problems and they were just having like financial issues. Just shit was just bad. And when she went to go see that lady, the lady was like, "Is your yard always dirty? Like, is it always like littered?" And my mom was like, "Well, shit. I mean, yeah, it's a yard, And she was like, "No, when you get home, compare your yard to everybody else's." And my mom noticed like there were like leaves in the people's yards, but like there would be like a 7-Eleven cup, and there would be like dirt inside of it, or like pebbles or whatever. And she had told her, like, you might just think of it as trash, and then your husband's gonna go out and gather the trash, and he's gonna touch it, he's gonna bring it inside, and that's how it gets you.
Yeah.
And he was like, these people are smart because they know that you're going to step on it. They know you're going to touch it. They're going to put it on your doorstep, so you're going to step in it and bring it to your house.
Do you think that has to do with Ojo?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Well, it's like what you said, the energy. You put bad energy on people and they take it in, man.
It's negativity. Negativity, hate,
is real.
Envy is so fucking powerful.
I said it on that podcast. It's like, you can choose to fucking just ignore it. Like you said, you don't believe in it, so I don't think it'll affect you. But like me and my little anxiety ass, always thinking shit. Like if I start thinking about it, that shit'll fuck with me, man. And that's real. Like your mind creating that's real.
I can't say I don't believe. When I say I don't believe in anything, I don't subscribe to like religion stuff, like that kind of belief. Like my type of faith is where you believe in what you believe in to where you're actually living it out. That's what my definition of faith is. So as far as like that kind of stuff, man, I'm like a seeing is belief. I'm like, what can you show me?
Okay.
That's what kind of person I am. Like if I'm sitting there telling you, bro, I fucking had an alien experience, and you're like, for real? And I'm like, yeah, and I can make you have one too. That's where I'm talking about DMT. Like that's one thing that UFO people don't have is like you can't repeat that experience. They see a UFO and they're the only ones that saw it. But I'm like, y'all want to see some fucking UFOs? You know, that's how I come at it. I'm like, you can. I'm not. Nobody's special. You're not special at that point. That's what I don't like about, you know, religion and all these, even like other things. Like when people say that, it's like they're going out and saying that these people can do something that no other human being is capable of doing. And I don't subscribe to that. I think every human is even with music. Not everybody's like, you might not see yourself as a musical person. Maybe not. Maybe you are. I don't know you personally, but saying maybe you don't see as somebody as like, oh, I could do this. But if you work hard enough at something, you can you can do something. You can do anything. Literally, whatever you set your mind to, you can do it. But one thing that tripped me the hell out, and I was kind of older when I was doing it. It was funny because I was with my daughter's mom at the time, and her family's all into that, like, oh shit. And I forgot what it was, but I wasn't feeling good. I really wasn't. And they rubbed the egg on me. Did the whole thing. And they cracked that egg, bro. And I ain't never seen an egg look like that. It was all like broken up and there was like blood in it and shit. I've made plenty of eggs. Never seen that shit before. No, yeah. So like, yeah, I guess when you say believe, like, yeah, I believe that.
There's evidence for you right there.
Yeah, for real.
All right, well, we'll wrap this up, man. But I got one last question for you. What is the meaning of life?
Meaning of life, man, is to love one another, man. That's what it is. It's love. It's all about love. If you can understand everything's okay, then
is love the universal language across everywhere? That's what part of the question.
No, DMT is the universal molecular language.
Alrighty, man.
On everything, yeah.
So
it's in plants, it's in animals, and if it's here, we can assume it's in other planets. So that's the universal language.
There you go. Where can they find you? Where's your music at?
You can find my music, D.o.G, on all platforms. You can look me up on YouTube, Tryptamine08, TRYPTAMINE08, and then really just look that up. You can find me anywhere.
We should do this again with your brother. Me, you, and your brother.
That'd be a good one.
I'll be drinking this time. I drank with your brother, so never mind.
That'd be a good one.
Did I? Shit, I don't remember. But
I appreciate you having me, man. It's like my first legit podcast, man.
I appreciate it.
And I feel like I got to talk about whatever I want to talk about.
It was fun. I really enjoyed it. Oh, it's not over yet.
Oh, shit.
I really enjoyed it. Thanks for driving over here. It really means a lot when people do that shit, man. I really appreciate it.
Dude, I've been on a couple of like not a couple. Well, yeah. There's just people, man. They don't take people's time. They're not considerate of it. Mm-hmm. You know, I am both ways, so I really appreciate you.
Hell yeah, because it was a short notice. We were supposed to do this with somebody else today, but you came. Jen, you came at a short notice. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing your story.
These things. Yeah, these are fun.
These are fun. We might have to have you for whenever his brother's here, and we'll get together and get
That'll be a good one, man. What are we gonna talk about? We should see. That's the thing. Like that's what I was telling you. Like I was like, man, I've been on an alien kick. Do what?
She said paranormal.
No, for real. That'll be a good one.
There
Ghost, poltergeist. I don't know. Bigfoot.
Last time we talked about ghosts, it got a little spooky.
Yeah, actually, I don't know. Never mind.
But anyways, I really appreciate both of y'all being here. This is episode 91. You guys have a good night, good day, whenever. Thank you. We'll see y'all next time.
Thank y'all.
There you go. That was episode 91. Hope you guys enjoyed. That was D.o.G, Tryptamine08. Be sure you check out his music, and I have merch coming out, so be on the lookout for that. I'll deliver and I'll ship. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Good night.